What's up, Chaos Crew? Here we go back in My Hero Ultra Rumble, and I think it is finally time for us to go ahead and knock out our Season 15 character tier list. Now, before I start, I want to make sure I say this. This is my opinion. You're free to disagree. Matter of fact, I want you to disagree. Let me know what you think in the comments about my tier list, because this one's going to be a little bit different than my last one. My last couple ones, I feel like I was kind of vague on who I think, like, you know, the best character or characters are in this game. I won't be doing that again. This time around, the ranking and the order will matter. So, I'm going to put that in ahead of time, and let me know what you guys personally think in the comments. And don't you dare skip to the end and be like, oh, let me go ahead and just go to the end, see what this tier list is without context. You better watch the video and get the context. So, to go ahead and start us off here, I decided why not go ahead and start with our most recent releases, then the characters in the patch notes, and then we'll do whoever's left. So that's starting us off with Overhaul down here. Assault Overhaul, where's he at? Down here. I went ahead and decided to put him in A tier because, personally speaking, I know people are like, oh, hey, haha, hee hee, this guy's the tickle monster. I think this guy's actually pretty dang strong, if I had to be honest with you. Is he lacking in damage? Sure, but he also makes up for that in terms of his special action, to heal himself and knock people off of him. The fact that his alphas have auto aim, a lot of his damage I feel like will come from his aim in alphas, which I don't see a lot of overhaul players use, surprisingly. I will admit, seeing his beta get a slight increase would be a bad idea, personally speaking, but it's this move right here, his coffin shot. Now, his coffin shot is not like, oh, it's his best damaging move. No, but it's the move where you're going to get most of your damage in. Literally, if you do gamma, beta, into alpha as you're rising on the pillar, that's like a guaranteed guard break in most cases, unless like you miss a shot or something. Or if you do gamma into aimed in alphas, you're getting pretty close to a guard break, if not a guaranteed guard break. Like this guy, if you combo, he's combo dependent. So if you combo your moves together, play very technical with him, he's a good character. I think he's a really good character, worthy of being in A tier. So that's where I will personally place him, despite us all playing around and being like, oh, hey, he's a tickle monster, which is kind of funny. So next up would be, let's see, Nedre. Yeah, because Nedre, she did come out, before Overhaul. Yeah, I have her also in A tier. Now with her, I was kind of trying to figure out whether or not I want her in S tier or not, because this character just does insane damage. And what makes her damage so insane is, one, her fire rate on her alpha, because you look at the damage at baseline, you're like, oh, okay, 50 to 60 damage isn't bad, until you see that she's firing like 2-3 of them off in a time span of 1 second. Like it's kind of crazy. And not to mention the big AoE on it, the fact that it's also healing allies GP, so it's encouraging people to go fight the opponents as she stays from afar to just blast them. Her alpha's really good in my opinion. Her beta, Spiraling Fairy. I've seen so many Nedre players use this skill just to get people to back up and to save themselves from dying. Like they would use willpower, then use this. Her beta's really good. And then her gamma, being able to sit up here and pretty much just give your allies extra defense and yourself, and also giving, of course, the other big 3 characters, buffs, is really good. So with that all said and done, I decided that A tier would be a solid spot for her, because she feels like a really, really strong pick in my opinion. And I would probably say she is the best out of the season 15 releases, Overhaul being the worst and her being the best, which then leads into us getting to Tokoyami. I put this guy also in A tier, and yeah, I would say he's like the medium. He's in the middle. I would say Overhaul is like, the worst one on release. That's because, of course, I know they nerfed him and everything, but I'm kind of glad they did. He would have been mad strong if they didn't. I think Nedre is probably the strongest character from season 15 in terms of releases. When it comes to Tokoyami right here, I think people complain about his damage, like, oh, he doesn't do enough damage. I promise you guys, if y'all use his special action, Black Ankh, if you use his special action and go into your melees, this guy he has, surprisingly enough, he has one of the more oppressive melee combos, which surprises me, honestly, because you would have thought, okay, he's going to play from a distance with Black Shadow more. No, you want to get in close with this guy and put straight hands on people, like, undoubtedly. So, with that in mind, I think that's the way you want to play him, at least the way I would play him. Use Alpha and Beta. Hawks, be quiet. Anyways, so I just heard him. But the way I would play Tokiyami here would be just use alpha and beta to like stun the opponent. I'm about to remove you. You keep playing around. Anyways, just use use alpha and beta. They're gonna do some light damage, get in close, and then put on special action and just beat the crap out of somebody. That's how I play them. So next up is the characters from the last patch, which I'm starting off on Deku. This may be a hot take. I'm putting this guy in S tier. So when I first made a video about him, I was like, he's a strong A tier pick. I'm not gonna lie, this guy feels like an S tier pick. He feels really good to play right now because you have to consider he still has his really good alphas. He still has his sniper shot, which although a lot of people don't really use it nowadays, it's still good to get an extra 20, 30 damage on your alpha, if you're trying to finish a kill. So I would definitely use that as like a combo ender. It's this right here. His freaking beta. Them giving him a second beta, and it's not locked behind level 9 like Black Whip. It's behind level 4. This character has way better movement now. So if you can assumingly get him, I'd say at least semi-maxed out, and what I mean by that is like, max alpha, get beta level 4, and then you max gamma. This guy's movement just becomes on a different level. He can cover a large amount of distance. So with that in mind, to go with the fact that he's an assault character, so he's taking less damage and everything, this character feels really good. Not to mention the fact that if you know how to do his combos, like melee, black whip, and then two or three alpha shots into another black whip, 2-3 more alpha shots, and you can finish that off with a beta, which you have 2 of, by the way, so you can just use it how you see fit. Or you can do a sniper shot alpha and just do big damage in a matter of seconds. This character, in my opinion, feels really good. And all you hardcore yellow Deku mains know exactly what I'm talking about. This character just feels freaking crazy right now, in my honest opinion. Next up on the list is Rapid Ochako. I still have her in A tier, personally speaking. I know they buffed her beta. I don't think this character was ever really in a rough spot. The only reason why we see less of her, well, I would say there's 2 reasons. One, she got nerfed, of course, from being the combo queen that we used to know. And 2, I just think that there are other characters people would rather play, in my honest opinion. But I still think this character still does really good damage if you can still land your gamma combo leading to alphas or betas, however you guys do it. I'm not familiar with it. I've seen Ochako still do it though, and they can still at the bare minimum get a guard break with their combos. Like this, she's still decent. She's still good. So, am I surprised I don't see her as often? Not really. I just think that there's just much more popular characters to play here. So that's why I'm not even really surprised. Next up on the list is Ida. Yeah, Ida is, in my opinion, the brother's S tier. And in case you guys may disagree, please disagree, because like I'm just like I'm really looking at their kits and I'm thinking about it. This guy is he got adjusted a lot. So of course they went ahead and gave him the 300 HP, which is crazy. I didn't think this character needed the additional 50 HP. And I gotta talk about that, but I'll wait for the right character to talk about that with. Yeah, the additional 50 HP, so now he can tank more, and it'll make it easier for him to use his revive when he has to get into the heat of the battle to go ahead and save his allies. Now he has more HP to work with in case he feels like being a little bit risky. They gave him, a while back, an additional charge on his alpha. Absolutely dangerous, but now that means he could do his alpha beta combo twice now, since he has 2 betas and 4 alphas. Oh, I forgot to mention, they went a while back, they also boosted up the damage of his beta. So now he's pretty much guaranteed guard breaking with an alpha beta combo. Not to mention his gamma. We didn't even talk about that. The fact that he could use this thing and just become what feels like, at least movement wise, I guess I'll say dash speed. Dash speed wise, the fastest character in the freaking game. Then you add in his really good air melee, with let's say, certain, melee tunings. This guy just sounds like a nightmare to fight against. Literally, he just sounds like a nightmare to fight against. And now with him having the additional HP, it allows him to also be able to armor through attacks more often with his reciprocal burst. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I don't know if you guys been seeing it, but I've been seeing Ida starting to run my game. It's crazy. I feel like this character is really, really strong right now. So that's why I'm like, I gotta put him in S tier. I feel like it would be wrong to not do that. Next up on my list is Yaoyorozu. I still have her in B tier. Because I know the changes for her were just for her early game, so it's like I'm thinking about the character as a whole. Um, and it's like when you see a character in B tier, for me at least, I think the character is still good. Don't think that the character is like bad or anything, but it's like it's one of those things where it's like the character is good depending on the situation. You feel me? So it's like for Yayorozu, for an example here, she can still dominate. Do not, misinterpret me putting her in B tier as her being like bad in any way, shape, or form. It's just that it depends it depends on whether or not the circumstances fits her, fits her kit. With her gammas working better indoors versus outdoors, or sniping people. With the fact that with her beta and alpha, you want to be close up on your opponent. You want to make sure that they don't have a chance to breathe, pretty much. You know what I mean? Well, I know the Yayorozu mains know exactly what I mean. Just that this character, I don't think she's bad or anything like that. I'm glad that she's better early game wise. It's just that with her, it feels situational on whether she'll have a lot of value on the battlefield or she'll have little value on the battlefield. And that's just my thoughts on the character. So next up on the list is, I believe it's All Might here. Looks like I saw All Might. Yeah, this may be a hot take for you guys, and I can't wait to hear the responses for this one. I put him in S tier. I put this guy in S tier. The reason why is because like I know people are looking at it like, Tez, didn't you just put this guy in like C tier on your last tier list? Yes, I did. What really makes the massive difference here is not even the increase on his alpha damage. I didn't think it was needed, but I'm cool with it. It's that 50 HP. If you've been watching me play this character on the channel for a while, you know that I've been saying for the longest time, All Might did not need any more damage. Because people are like, oh, what if they buffed his alpha? What if they buffed his beta? What if they buffed his gamma in terms of damage? You guys are probably seeing it now since I saw All Might's more on the field now. He doesn't need more damage, or he didn't need more damage. Let me rephrase that, because they gave him, an alpha increase anyways. He didn't need more damage. He just needed to be able to survive long on the battlefield with him being an assault type. Keep in mind, he's one of the biggest characters in this game, and he had 300 HP. It was the same gripe I had with Endeavor before he got his HP buff. It's like, you can't have a character this size and not give him additional HP to work with. He's such an easy character to hit. So, them giving him back his 350 HP is such a great move, and I'm happy that they went ahead and did that, because now it allows you to actually sit in battle and trade with your alphas. It allows you to sit in battle and actually try to use your armor on your beta and actually, collide with people and get that good damage in, because his beta still hits really hard in my opinion. And of course he has his gamma that makes him invulnerable to incoming attacks and projectiles, unless like, it's a hard knockdown skill like Mirio, Ibarra, but projectiles and stuff like that, he can armor it off. So I think, personally speaking, all his entire kit considered, with his entire kit in consideration, for me at least, he feels like an S tier pick. You can still jump in the air really high, land down some really good alphas, leading to a beta, then and an easy guard break. Not to mention his freaking beta alpha combo. If you know how to sit up here and if you can aim after landing a beta and aim upwards and hit an alpha, if a person doesn't recover, you could just shred them to pieces with a beta alpha combo. And even if they do recover, you could at least slip in 1 to 2 shots and still get in a guaranteed guard break combo. All Might always had high damage in my opinion. He just needed better survivability, and he finally got it. So for me at least, S tier pick, because this guy can run lobbies. I've seen people try to make him run lobbies. Shoot, I'm running lobbies. This guy's S tier in my opinion. Sorry if I sound like I'm glazing, but like he feels like an S tier pick. Next up on my list is Endeavor. I got him in S tier as well, and I know you guys are thinking, oh, he's putting everybody in S tier. Maybe that's a good sign that, a lot of characters are actually pretty decent. Because right now, the way that this meta feels after the change up, it feels more diverse. And I love that. For Endeavor, the reason why I put him in S tier is because they went ahead and this guy has been, in my opinion, is way better than he was before. First, like I said, the 350 HP, I know it was a while back, but I'm glad they gave him the additional HP as well, because he's another character who has a very large hitbox. So it's like, it never made sense to me to see Endeavor with 300 HP with how big and clunky he is, So, his alpha, they made it where now you could permanently hold it on your opponent, so as long as you got good tracking, or if you're on like console and you have aim assist on, as long as you're within range, you can just beam someone down. His beta, in my opinion, has always been his best move. The pillars, and how you can combo off the pillars of fire with your alpha and everything, not to mention the big damage that it hits. And then of course his his gamma. His gamma goes through walls, still has some really good damage. I love using his gamma. It's like, for me at least, one of his most fun things about his kit. But overall, Endeavor just feels like a really strong strike character now. And even when you get low on HP and everything, you still have your flight, and you still have your high jump, and you can even use your high jump and hover to go ahead and get good angles to use all your skills. For me at least, whenever I play this guy, I typically find myself just dominating the game until I get jumped to oblivion. So it's like it's hard for me to not see this character as a S tier pick, with in my honest opinion. Next up on my list is okay, next up on my list is Mirio, which Mirio I have in. He's another A tier pick in my opinion. I will admit, I am thankful that this character went ahead and got his additional HP back, although it's only 25, which reminds me, I don't know what is up with y'all Mirio mains, but y'all get 25 HP and y'all think y'all Himothy or something. Like, what's going on with that? Bro, I had a freaking rapid Mirio teabag me after catching me off guard, and I was trying to heal from a previous battle. He just teabagged me and chased me across the map. Like, bro, don't let the additional 25 HP go to y'all's head. Y'all can still explode on impact. Y'all do understand that, right? Again, I'm glad y'all got y'all's 25 HP back, but y'all getting a little too confident, I feel like. But no, Mirio though, I still feel like that his kit in general is just he's really good in my opinion. He still has the alpha to give him really good really good distance, not to mention his alpha combo, if you don't use the permeation version of it. His beta still great for catching your enemies off guard, and of course you can combo off of that into your gamma or one hit of your alpha, which is really good in my opinion. I think this is really good for his damage and distance, the distance you can cover with it. Then of course his gamma, the fact that you can use his gamma multiple times, I think it takes like what 30% off of his gauge. I think you use it up to like 3 times. Is really good in my opinion. It makes it where like you can just be so petty with this character and just spam your gamma just to annoy the crap out of somebody. Now I would recommend it because people will start seeing it and they'll play around it. But you know what I mean. This character's kit just, I feel like he's always been pretty good. The only thing that really hurt this character was the fact that he used to be the lowest HP character in the game. Oh, I forgot to mention his special action, being able to go ahead and permeate on the battlefield, and also being able to go to your allies using your special action as well, makes it where this character can be very difficult to kill, especially if he has a team. So, and people always ask, hey, how do you do the teleport thing with Mirio? Just aim in and press your special action button. People, I still get questions from that every now and then. So for me, Mirio would have to go ahead and be a A-tier pick. Now, let's talk about our bird boy here, Hawks, and I'm gonna ruffle some feathers here, pun intended, by the way. Yeah, this guy's going in D tier. Huh? That's right, Hawks Banks. Get mad. Your bird guy here is in D tier. I'm sorry. Like, and you guys are probably thinking like, oh, he's just being biased. No, I'm not. I am thinking about what this character can do. And don't get me wrong, I have people telling me, oh, what about the melee cancels, and you can do this and that, and they're talking about the combos and everything. And I am going to try and apply that stuff next time I play this character. Trust me, I am. I'm going to take y'all's criticism. But it's also the fact that this character just, y'all talk about overhaul being a tickle monster. This guy is what is he, the boogeyman of tickle monsters? Because hear me out. Besides his beta and landing his beta, yeah. Sounds good. Which now you can get roughly around like 220 with tuning, 240 damage at best from what I've seen. It's like, okay, his beta has some really solid damage. Besides that, his other skills, kind of lacking. And then his special action, it's really his special action for me. His special action just feels like it sucks. It feels like you're punished so hard for using it. Because of course you use it to try to fly around and get to places faster. Once you use up that meter, it feels like it takes forever for this skill to come back. And with your only other movement skill, I guess let me not say only other, your main movement skill being off your beta, since you could go in free flight mode with it. If you get hit once in this skill, like by a I'll say like a melee skill or a hard knockdown skill, then your beta's on an extremely long cooldown too. So now that only leaves you to use your gamma, which of course you can get some airtime with, but I wouldn't really consider it as like a decent option to get away from your opponent. You can use it to keep your distance from your opponent at best, but like if you got somebody like Nagant on you or any other character with decent movement, it's not hard for them to play around your gamma. Like, and if you want my honest opinion, this character just does not feel good right now. And if we take a moment just to look at the rest of the list here, I see a scenario where everyone here can just hard counter him. And you're probably thinking like, oh, it's a skill thing. Maybe it is for me. I won't deny that. But like realistically, I can look at every character here and think of several scenarios where they can hard counter Hawks and make him relatively useless. Make him the equivalent of what we call overhaul here, the tickle monster. I'm sorry, that's just the truth. They took away his, of course, they took away his melee combo a while back, so he doesn't have any real combos. I know you can do gamma into alpha, but like his alpha does so little damage. What, you're gonna get like 150 damage at best when somebody like Ida exists that can just sit up here and just do alpha alpha beta and there goes their entire card and then some. Like come on. I think Hawks just needs some help, in my honest opinion. Whether they want to decide to, I know I said this in Hawks' video, I'm gonna say it here. Buffing his HP 300, since we're giving Rapids 300 HP, wouldn't be a bad idea. If they want to, you know, do something about the consumption of his special action when he flies around, that would help. If they want to buff his beta up a little bit, that'd be nice. For his beta, I don't think it needs any more changes per se in terms of like damage or duration. What I really think they should do is they should make his beta work similarly to Assault All Might's beta. Because I was thinking to myself, like, how could they make his beta much more, you know, less punishing to use? I think what they should do is they should make it just like All Might's beta here and make it where you collide with the opponent and you hit them. When All Might hits them, he goes immediately into the second hit, like guaranteed. He'll always do the second hit. I think what they should do for Hawks is something similar. Make it where when he makes contact with the opponent, his beta just goes into that second hit and allows him to go into free flight mode. Now, that may seem a little bit crazy to people, but it's like, I feel like that's more worth it, because for you to sit up and land his wing cross combo correctly, you have to sit up and pretty much flip your camera 180, which isn't hard for you know, for everybody. Let's be honest, let's keep it real. But it's like, after you do that and you're trying to get in more shots, your moves are so telegraphed that everyone knows to look out for it. Everyone knows to dodge it, or everyone knows that they can counter it depending on what character they're using. Because he has no armor or anything like that. I'm not saying give him armor, although I wouldn't be opposed to it by this point. But it's like, it's you know, after that first, you know, hit and slash you get, it's like, unless you're flying away, I definitely recommend just cancel the flight and, you know, keep your distance. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's just my opinion on Rapid Hawks right now. He's just, in my opinion, he's not in the worst place. And I would say, at least for me, he might be the worst character in the game right now. I'm sorry. Just he really feels like a tickle monster. If you want to call anybody a tickle monster, like there was even in my Hawks video, bro. This Dobby chased me across the map. He made sure he wanted me off the map, and I couldn't even stop him. You want to know why? I couldn't beta him because it's Gamma. I couldn't sit up here, and although I can land my Gamma, I think Gamma was the only move I could really use to counter him, because he would just take the feathers and be like, he just brush it off, be on some, is that all you got? And then he'd just kick me in the air and hug me to death. Like, it's just. Give the character some help. He needs some more, and I hope he gets it in season 16. That's my opinion. If you disagree, Hawks mains, please feel free to tell me in the comments. I'm always open for you know, for a new point of view. So let me go ahead and move on to our next character, being Mount Lady. Call this a crazy freaking hot take. I'm putting her in S tier. I'm putting her in S tier because of the simple fact that her also getting the 50 HP means that this character is just that much harder to take down. And I know you guys are thinking, she was hard to take down before. Yeah, she had 300 HP. Her, you know, a while back, her specializing wasn't all that good, really. Like, they made a good amount of changes for Mount Lady in terms of trying to like make her relevant again, to where I actually see this character more often now. Now I'm so happy for that, because like, don't get me wrong, we don't need Prime Mount Lady back. She was an absolute demon. But I'm just glad to see that this character is just, you know, being played again. So the 350 HP helps out a ton, especially with her special action, making her a massive target. Her base form combos are still really, you know, I won't say they're really strong. That's probably her only weakness, really. Her base form combos, she still has very high knockdown value, so you can't do a whole lot of combos as you would like. But despite that, she still is decently strong in her base form with her alphas, her betas. Her gamma does a lot of damage, surprisingly. If you can get a good gamma off, ooh, different story. But when you get in her giant form, that's when she becomes a true powerhouse. Because then afterwards, I've seen people land like 70 up to 140 damage off of her alphas in her giant form, which is insane, by the way. Then her beta's doing like 180 damage, and you can delay the stomp by jumping in the air and making it harder for people to react to it, waiting out their iframes. And then you got her gamma, which allows her to cover a lot of distance and has a massive hitbox, also doing a solid 150 to 170 damage. She feels really strong right now, and I'm happy for it. Don't get me wrong, that isn't a bad thing. That is good. I'm glad she is back in, I guess I don't want to say the meta. I'm glad she's back in the meta. I'm glad she's good again. It's just so great to see, because it felt like this character couldn't get anything, like couldn't have her way at all. It feels like between her and Assault All Might, they were like some of the most nerfed characters in the game. So I'm just glad to see that she's back and she's relevant again. But yeah, so I say S tier because I'm saying all this stuff without even considering tuning. If you use her latest tuning build from the area control battle, you can come up with several different variations for this character. You could do Fixer and Space Hop. You could do Fixer and Hyper Regen. Oh no, not Hyper Regen. You could do Fixer and Sisterly Disposition. You could do Fixer and Sisterly Disposition. There are so many things you could do with this character to just make her feel like a raid boss, I feel like. And I'm mad I can't show it off yet because I'm low on tuning resources. But like, this character is in a really good spot thanks to her latest tuning build, in my opinion, and all the changes that they made to make her relevant again. So for me, at least, I gotta say she's S tier. I see her more often on the field, and a lot of times she's dominating. I know it's crazy how all these characters dominate, because they feel good to play now, and players are seeing that and they're like, oh hey, I can finally go back and play one, this nostalgic character. You know what I mean? It's great, honestly. Okay, I feel like I yapped on more long enough. I'm Mount Lady. Hello, Mount Lady. My bad, Mount Lady. I was glazing. My bad. Okay, let's go on to the next character, Ibarra. I also think she's another S tier pick. Her only weakness by this point is the fact that she lacks mobility. Thank goodness she doesn't have it, honestly. Her move keys are in place, and she lacks mobility. Those are her only real weaknesses, I feel like. But besides that, everything else about this character is incredibly strong. 2 revives, and she can use them from a very far distance, I feel like, which is crazy. Her alpha, she got an additional increase on her ammo count, so now she has like, what, 5 alphas, I think? Mind you, each alpha is doing like 160 damage at the bare minimum, so that's crazy that she can fire off that many alphas and they're doing that much damage. Her beta, great for using indoors, and it has armor, and it does insane damage as well. And then her gamma. This is one of the skills that you could have told me, oh yeah, they're going to give her regen on her gamma, and I would have thought you were crazy. They gave her regen on this thing, and it is crazy. I've seen so many Ibarra mains just like rush into the heat of battle just to grab someone, and I can't even blame them, because if you get one grab with this character, if you get one gamma, it changes the entire, I guess, tempo of the match. Because think about it like this: let's say you're chasing down Ibarra and you're trying to get in close to going and confirm the kill. She sneaks around a corner. She maybe has like 50, I'd say maybe 100 HP. She sneaks around a corner, grabs you, and then takes away all your green health. Now she has 225 plus additional health to stack on her low health. I mean, she can fight again now, while you are now missing most of your green health. I mean, if you get grabbed once, and I hope you're not going into that battle without shields, it makes it where you have to be much more dangerous around Ibarra when you're fighting her. So it's like her only real weakness is just her lack of movement. But I'm thankful. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, she has very high HP, 400 HP, highest in the game. Like this character just feels really, really strong right now. She feels like she's in a strong spot. And considering how I had her in like B tier on my last tier list, oh my gosh, like, talk about a crazy upgrade. So in my opinion, S tier pick. She feels very strong. Just, throw whatever little tuning build you want for the character, whether it's a revive build, a damage build, do what you want. But Ibarra feels like she's in a very, very strong spot. Next up on my list here, I believe, is Tech Toga. Tech Toga here I have, crazy enough, in A tier. And I have her on the higher end of A tier because I will say this: we don't see this character super often compared to other characters. I can admit that. But I still feel like she is like, she still feels like a strong character. Because a while back, they buffed up her beta to have insane tracking, if I'm correct, right? And I've seen it. That tracking is kind of ridiculous. Her alphas are still decently good. It reminds me of, like, would I say a weaker version of Rapid All Might Alpha? maybe. I gotta look and see. I don't know if it's really weaker or not, but it reminds me of Rapid All Might's Alpha, where if you can get the, the fire rate going, if you can start firing, her alphas do a lot of damage, and it takes your opponent some time to realize, oh hey, someone's throwing something at me, and then by the time they look up and realize that they already lost like most of their health, unless they're just super attuned into the game, I guess. I don't know, but I'd say her one like weakness is probably her gamma. I've seen Toga mains talk about how her gamma is wonky, and I've seen it myself a couple times. This is probably her only weakness in my opinion, because of the fact of how inconsistent her gamma can potentially be. I say potentially because it's like it's iffy, it's 50-50 really. But besides that, this character still feels like she got a decently strong kit, and not to mention, we didn't even talk about her special action, the fact that she can sit up here and transform to other people, use their abilities, and then de-transform and refresh her cooldowns and get these skills back. I've always thought that that was one of the most ridiculous things about this character, the fact that she can reset her cooldowns by transforming and de-transforming. So, absolutely insane. I'm surprised they haven't changed that yet, but hey, it's still in the game, and I'm still taking that into consideration. So now Togas can do combos with other characters' skills into her own moves, or she could use her opponent's blood to give herself additional mobility to get away from a fight. It's ridiculous. And then she has 350 HP to add on to it. I was tempted to throw her in S tier. I'll be real with you guys. But I was like, I'll just have her in high A tier. That feels like a good spot for her. Because although Toga has a strong kit, in my opinion, it's not like it's hard to play around her to fight against her. You know what I mean? And funny enough, I typically find it easier to fight her when she's in her beta. That's funny enough. So that in mind, it's like, I can't say she's S tier based off my own experiences, but I can say she's like high A. At best, I would give her low S tier, in my opinion. But I decided to put her in high A tier. So, next up on the list is Kurogiri, I believe. Which Kurogiri I have as another A tier pick. And the reason why, they buffed his damage on his beta, which is great, because I know that Kurogiris love doing their warp gate combo where they just portal you to death. But realistically speaking, the reason why I have him in like A tier, and really on the lower end of A tier to be honest, is because like he's decent, I haven't really seen a Kurogiri dominate a game in a very long time, but that's not necessarily what he needs to do. He fits the support role really well. Decently high HP, having 350 HP. His special action allowing him to warp his downed allies to his location, and they can work from anywhere on the map. That's what really makes him really ridiculous. It's the fact that his special action works from anywhere on the map. When it comes to other revive characters, Froppy, Ibarra, Cementos, Ida, All Might, Deku, etc. They have to be within a certain range, some closer than others. I forgot compressing that. Forgive me, compressed mains, but you have to be closer to get these revives to work. For Kurogiri, that doesn't matter. He can just warp you wherever. You can literally be on the opposite side of the map, max distance, and he can still just be like, I forgot what he says during his revive. This is all for you, whatever he says. Like he can just revive you from anywhere or teleport you. The only weakness I would say to this skill is the fact that he doesn't instantly revive you, which I think is fine. I think that's good, because just having a skill that just separates the distance between you and your opponent as is already crazy enough. Of course, now let me get back to his actual kit. Alpha's decent damage, and some people I've noticed don't really notice the alphas are hitting them until he gets his max damage off the spins of his Black Mist. We already know about his beta and how you can combo into it. His gamma allows him to pretty much play safely if he wants, and he also gets armor on this as well. He can play safely if he wants and just beam you down from a distance, which I think is really good actually. If people don't shoot the actual mist bubble that's floating in the air, which some people can't, they just can't. He can just getting a lot of free damage, I feel like, and that's really good. And then of course he can use this to teleport as well. I've also seen some Kurogiris know how to use their beta and kick you through the portal. Y'all are evil for that. I want you to understand that. But anyways, let me go ahead and get my point across. I think this guy's A tier. I think that if you learn how to play him and learn his combos, learn his tech and everything, you can make a lot of use out of Kurogiri. Not to mention, even if you don't do that, just make sure you use that special action. Save your allies. Let them run wild. He still feels like a solid pick in my opinion. I still see him a little bit here and there. So that is Kurogiri out the way. Now I'm trying to see who in the world is next on my list. It looks like it's Rapid All Might. Goodness gracious. Yeah, Rapid All Might. You are still a freaking S tier pick, my brother. So And I know you guys are like, oh, this guy must be an All Might Glazer. He's putting them all in S tier. Yes, yes, I am. All Mights, all three of them, in my opinion, and I'll get to All Might soon. They feel really strong right now. For Assault All Might, I know they went ahead and nerfed his beta reload speed. Do you guys think a Rapid All Might main care? Do you think they care that their beta loads back slower now? They still have, of course, the same special action Assault All Might, having the revive and the high jump. So the high, we'll just consider the high jump for this one. I don't really see All Mights do the revive all that often. He still has his Texas Smash, where he gets damage reduction, armor, and he increases his firing rate while firing, allowing him to just burst through an opponent extremely quickly. And then, of course, you can use your melee to increase that speed almost immediately. So armor, damage reduction, high damage. Insane. Onto his beta. After that change they made a while back to give him momentum on his beta, or let him keep the momentum on his beta, I say 2 betas and you can get away from a team fight. Which is why it's not crazy that they went ahead and nerfed the reload speed of his beta. This guy has insane movement. Some of the best movement in the game, in my opinion. He easily enter a fight and leave a fight as he pleases with no problems. Then, don't get me started on this stupid Gamma. If there was anything I wanted them to nerf on Rapid All Might, it's this freaking Gamma. I'm sick of you wannabe Rapid All Might mains, and yes, I'm calling y'all out. Y'all wannabe Rapid All Might mains who just spam Gamma. You'll go high in the air with your special action, or maybe you use a beta or two to get in a good angle. You'll drop from above, do a Gamma, and then run. Y'all are so freaking annoying, and not only because y'all are spamming one move here, but you have 2 other very strong moves to use on this character. Use them. Like, are we serious? You can literally do a close if you're close on your opponent. You do a beta chop into a gamma. That is that is almost 300 damage off of one combo. If y'all don't use y'all's moves and stop spamming this this brain dead move, so help me. So with that in mind, I wouldn't be opposed to a damage nerf on this gamma. Even with that, I still would have this guy in freaking S tier because his kit is just really strong. It is. Insane movement, insane burst damage. Even if they nerf the damage on his gamma, he still has AoE on his gamma, so he can hit multiple people with his gamma. This character, he's really strong, I feel like. So, he is also in S tier for me. Let me see who my next character is. Okay, so my next character on the list is going to be Tech Shigaraki. Yeah, I'm sorry to tell you guys, this guy is still S tier. I'm glad that they made the changes that they did to this character in terms of his alpha and his beta. I always said this when I was playing the character. They just need to reduce his damage and he won't be as bad. That's half true. That's only half true. Now, I'm glad they went and did it because I'm glad they got rid of the infinite alpha tech that you would see Tech Shigaraki's use because he was doing so much damage. People were telling me like, oh, you can't one-shot with a gamma. Are you sure about that? Would you like me to tell you how the combo they were doing? Of course, you guys already know about the infinite alpha tech, but I need you to comprehend how much damage it does. So at first, initially, it did 50 damage, the AoE on the start, and then they could cancel it and loop it. Then they would loop it like what, 3, maybe 4 times. So that's 150 to 200 damage that they're using. And then on that last alpha, they're giving you the full, what is it, like 180? You're breaking like 380, and I'm not even considering tuning. Like, well, I won't say 380, like 360, 370, and I'm not even considering tuning, by the way. Like, it was absolutely ridiculous that they made his AoE that freaking strong and has such low down power. That was insane. I'm glad they changed it. Let me get my point across. I'm glad they changed it. This character, he still feels fine after the changes. He still hits very hard. It still feels like that, you know, if you get hit 2, 3, I'll say 4 times at most. In most cases, if you take 4 direct hits from this character, you're going down. Which I think it's fine because his moves aren't necessarily hard to dodge. I mean, he's a freaking demon at third partying, but like if you know how to, like, you know, bait him out, stuff like that for his moves, I don't think Tech Shiggy is super hard to fight against, considering his alpha and beta. What makes him hard to fight against? It's this. His gamma. At first I thought to myself like, oh, don't touch his gamma, it would ruin the character. But it's like, I'm more. The more I think about it, there was a comment I read in one of these Ultra Rumble videos where somebody said they should make it where he doesn't recover GP and HP at the same time for his gamma. Let it keep the same regeneration rate, but make it where he can't regenerate HP and GP at the same time. I'll be real with you guys. I think that is the perfect nerf to actually give this character to make it where it will kill the raid boss build. Because let's be honest, we're all sick of the raid boss build. I don't have it equipped right here because I wasn't using Tech Shiggy. I don't have it equipped right here, but let's be honest, we're all sick and tired of the raid boss build. And we've all been saying, oh, maybe they should just give a cooldown to the revenge tunings. When realistically, sadly enough, only this character can really abuse them like he is, like he does. So it's like nerfing them would probably kill the skills.
I can't win if I don't play.
Be quiet, Shigaraki. I'm yapping right now. But yeah, nerfing them like that would probably kill the skills. So I think the best move to nerf this character and make him somewhat balanced would be to just make it where he can't recover GP and HP at the same time. Make it where he has to max out his HP first to recover his GP. I think that would be probably the best change you could do with this character without like ruining him or ruining the tuning skills. And besides that, the character still does a lot of damage. He's still really strong. You can still combo your alpha into your special action into your alpha. This character still feels pretty good. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Shigaraki. He's still an S tier pick because right now he's still running the game, and I would argue he's one of the best, if not the best character in the game, at the bare minimum. So that is my yap session for Tech Shiggy. Now, next up on this list is Lady Nagant. Now with her, I had to really think about it. She's still an S tier pick. she's still S tier. This fine woman is still S tier. I know that she took a hit to her alpha damage, her special action damage, and her HP. I still can't help but put her in S tier because we gotta think about it like this. She is a sniper character. She can still do 300 damage on her special action. I'm pretty sure she can still combo into it through her beta. Her alphas, although they do less damage, they still do extra damage to HP. Her gamma still hits really hard, and not to mention the movement on her on her gamma. When you combine all this together, it's like she still puts down a lot of opponents with her kit. She may not be the best character in the game anymore, but she's still a really strong character. And this was the character I wanted to talk about when it came to the 50 HP thing. People seem to underestimate how much 50 HP can affect the character. For this character, it definitely affected her. The Nagant mains, in quotations, the Nagant mains aren't as bold as they used to be, if they're even still playing the character, but they can't afford to be, because it doesn't take a whole lot to down this character, which I think is fair when you consider the fact that she's a sniper character with mobility like a rapid. Like, it's really kind of crazy. So I'm not even really mad at the change that they made for her. At first I thought it was too much, but after seeing her in action still and seeing how she can still dominate and everything, she's fine. I would just say fix her little floating bug that she has right now, and she's fine. I still see Nagant players still abuse her from time to time. Just fix that and we're all good, honestly. I'm not really all that mad at Nagant no more. She feels fine, but she's still a very strong character. Do not underestimate her if you see her on the battlefield. So that is my opinion on Nagant. Okay, so my next character on my list is Armored All Might, and yeah, you guys guessed it, he's S tier. I mean, what do you guys expect? I'll be real with you guys. Personally speaking, even after the nerfs that they went ahead and gave this character into his alpha damage and his gamma damage, as long as you're still doing your combos, this character still hurts. He still hurts. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. He still has insane combos with the beta into his melees, whether it's ground or air. The fact you can go ahead and probably use your beta to go ahead and link into some alphas, or you can do some alphas and link into your gamma. This guy, as long as he's using his combos, he can still put up some really good damage. Not to mention the fact his special action still gives him great mobility, being able to jump in the air, to hover, or he could just use the other version of his special action to dash around the map and get away from his opponents. This character, he's still decently good. I don't know what else to really say about the character. Now, I'll admit, I don't really see this guy as often, and that's because he's not doing as much damage. And I'll be honest with you guys, if y'all are actually struggling on Armored All Might by this point, it might be a skill issue if you depend on this drone to break you out of jail with the 100 damage that it was doing, or 100 plus it was doing. It might be a skill issue. But no, jokes aside though, this character can still dominate. I wish I had him so I could just prove the point that this character is still good. But he feels fine, especially when you consider tuning as well with the different tunes you can give this character. This character, he's still in a strong spot. He just feels much closer to balance compared to what he was when he first came out, which I'm thankful for that, 100%. Okay, so my next character from here, it looks like I am done with the patch note characters and I'm on to the regular list here, which means it'll be easier for me to really, look and decide which characters are coming up. Because next up is Full Bullet Deku, which I have him on the higher end of A tier, funny enough. And the reason for that is because, honestly, he still does insane damage. I would say Assault is better just due to his movement and everything that he has now. His movement and the fact he can actually compare to him in damage. He can compare in alpha damage, I will say that. But it's the fact that like Assault is somewhat comparable in damage now. So it's like I kind of have him better because he has relative damage but better movement. You feel me? That's what I mean. That's a better way to put it. But this guy still has monstrous damage, by the way. His alpha shots, they still do like 100 plus guaranteed, but they have a hard knockdown. Keep that in mind. His beta, pretty crazy tracking when you actually look at it. And then it has crazy splash damage as well. Or AoE is the better phrase. And then his gamma. People don't really use his gamma for damage, but it also does solid damage as well. And give him that additional mobility option to get in the air to land his beta, of course. Now, I will say this. If you know how to do his combos with these skills, beta into gamma or gamma into alpha and stuff like that, if you can actually combo these skills, this character still hurts. I will never take that away from this character. This character has damage. I will never take that away from him. But I do feel like Assault is in a better place just thanks to him getting that second beta. And then in their best case scenarios, I just feel like you have much better defensive and movement options with Assault here. But I still would have this guy like a high A tier pick in my honest opinion. Okay, next up on the list, funny enough, Blue Deku, everyone's favorite rapid. I know that's not the case, guys. Trust me, I know. I still got this guy in S tier. What can I say? This character, this has been a character I've seen people ask to get nerfed for the longest time. I know they made changes to his gamma a while back, and they made changes to his beta to where, and when you do the Detroit Smash quintuple, you can't do it twice. You can only do it once. Still, this character still feels really strong. He still feels really strong. Auto tracking gamma, the fact his gamma lasts for a long time, and his armored melees. This character, he still has it all in my opinion. Let me describe that better. I feel like I was just yapping right there. Hard knockdown alphas that do 100 damage. Betas that generates a hitbox around it. So if you try to approach him while doing a beta, you will take damage, and if he's aiming at you, you're taking that hit as well. His gamma, you activate it, increase speed, so he's firing off his beta and his alpha much faster, and then of course his armored melees that allow him to get his 3 hits off and go into overdrive. When he's in overdrive, goodness gracious, I can't stand this skill that allows you to track onto your opponent no matter where they go. And I'm thinking like, what do you mean? Have you ever tried chasing a Kurogiri? He will go the distance. He will, if you can lock on before a Kurogiri goes into the portal, or if you can lock onto your opponent before they leave and they depart, he can still track them all the way across the map. That's how busted the skill is. I'm not gonna lie. I wish they would kind of limit how many times you can use the 5th year overdrive Detroit Smash, because it's ludicrous. It feels like. Of course, we have his Detroit Smash quintuple, which is great for AOE, hitting a lot of opponents and keeping up the pressure on your opponent. And then, of course, we got his special action using smoke screen to make it where it blocks your opponent's vision. And then Fajin, which is pretty much his version of Space Hop. I need to use these more often when I play this character, but this character still feels really strong. Is he counterable now? Yes, but that still doesn't change the fact that this guy is he feels really strong. Most Blue Deku players, they don't really care for their lives enough to not fully commit to a melee combo. Once they get that melee combo, they fully commit, and it makes them easy to down. But besides that, this character is just a nightmare to fight against still. I can't lie. So he's still an S tier pick, and in my opinion, still one of the best characters in the game, if I had to go ahead and personally be honest. Next character on my list here is Stripe Bakugo, which I have him in A tier. I think A tier is a solid spot for this guy. So still has solid HP, solid damage on his alpha, solid damage on his beta, and of course his big boy move, the howitzer impact. If you could somehow land all the hits on this skill, you're breaking like 300 damage. It's really crazy. The reason why I haven't been like A tier, nothing higher or anything like that, is because this character does require for you to be more technical than compared to other characters, and that's not bad. Don't get me wrong, that's not a bad thing. But it's like, even if you're one of those players who are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just spam gamma to victory, that can get punishing depending on who you're fighting. Very punishing, matter of fact. I wouldn't recommend just starting a battle off with a gamma, personally speaking. I recommend like maybe, you know, special action beta and then gamma to throw your opponent off. Or maybe special action into it to throw your opponent off. I don't know. Just, you don't want to do it just out of nowhere, because it's, your opponents will see it and they should be able to counter it unless you can time the final hit, I guess, with wherever the location is at. But it's like, personally speaking, this character still decently strong, still decently strong. But it's like, I couldn't see myself putting them anywhere higher than like mid A tier, I would say. That's probably the best spot I could put him. I'm glad they went ahead and made the change to his special action a while back, where, you know, he gets more movement if you use a special action and then do a melee. That feels really good. The movement change, in short. But yeah, this character, he still feels strong. That's how I put it. He still feels strong, but not super strong, not very strong. Next up is Rapid Bakugo, which I still have him in S tier, personally speaking, because he has or how do I say this? He has the burst damage to where he can be comparable to Striped Bakugo, in my opinion, but then he has way better movements. And that, for me, is what put him over the edge. Even with the 100 HP difference, it's this guy's movement with his burst damage that makes it where it's like, you cannot ignore this guy. Or if you do, at least get out the way, because he just bomb on you from above with the beta. His gamma still has massive damage, and he has 2 of them. And then he can combo his alpha off of that, which still do like 100 damage, by the way, if he can land all the bullets. This guy, he's still, fun enough, a very good character to use, a very strong character. I haven't seen him as much as other characters. The only reason why I would say that is just that there are other characters that people would rather play, and that's really about it. But this character, in my honest opinion, still feels like a very strong pick, especially if you got like a tuning build you can wrap around this guy with like maybe quirk factor released, or like the build I have right here where I'm focusing his gamma and I have acceleration and special attack and reload boost. This character, still, he can still cook 100%. Don't doubt him. And if they are truly giving us a skill set for this character, next season, oh, I gotta have the guy. I gotta have him. I hope he's like an assault character and a tech character. Probably a tech character. That'll probably be better. Anyways, next character is Assault Ochako, because we already knocked out Rapid Ochako earlier. I still have her as a tier pick as well, and I feel like she's relative to her Rapid counterpart, because with this character, she still has high damage with her alpha. She still has the absurd special action, which I forgot to mention that for Rapid Ochako as well. Her special action, she uses the special action way better than the assault version, but we're on assault now. Alpha still does really freaking high damage. Beta is great for movement, and it's great for combos as well if you know how to link it together. I've seen an Ochako player do Gamma, Beta, Alpha. I didn't even know that was possible, but hey, you learn new things. And then of course her Gamma, she has both versions of her Gamma. Realistically speaking, if it's me, if I ever see an opponent approach me for a melee or something, I'm gonna do the Nebula stage, do the hold the Gamma, watch them float up, take 150 damage, and then baseball hit them away. Like, this character still has some really good damage, and I would think she's probably great for like third parties if I were to use her. In head up battles, you could win with her in head up battles, but I will admit her alphas are like easy to dodge, especially if the opponent sees it coming. So, that's really my thoughts with the character. She still feels just strong. She's still strong. Great mobility, like I said. She has the freaking Nebula stage right here to get away from her opponents. So if you're grounded, you're not touching her, and you need somebody in the air who can go after her. And then by that point, she could probably have her beta back on standby and just fly away from you again. She's still decently strong. Not to mention, don't she have 350 HP? Yes, she does. So she also has insanely high HP, and she's an assault type. She's still strong. I'm very confident in saying she's still strong. Next up, Todoroki. So, S tier. Yes, guys, I finally switched around and said it. Yes, this guy's actually S tier. In previous tier lists, I said this guy was A tier, trying to be generous, because I still saw ways to counter this character. Nah, he's always been S tier. I've been downplaying him. The worst thing about this character is his special action. game devs, Viking, can we please make this like a flamethrower or something? Or maybe change the flame damage of it to be like how Armored All Might's flame damage used to be, so that way it has more value in some way, shape, or form. Just my thoughts. But anyways, this guy, he's pretty much, how do I describe this? He's like a better Denki. And what I mean by that is that with Strike Denki, with him, you want to pretty much go for the Gamma, stun, and burst down your opponent. This guy's better than that, because not only do you want to look for a Gamma to freeze your opponent and, you know, stop him in place for a combo, he can also move with it. And the cooldown on it is ridiculous. Not to mention, he also has 350 HP as well. This character is really, really strong. High HP, fast recovery speed on his movement ability. Let me think. Oh, if you get stunned by this character, it's pretty much GG's. You're losing like 250 HP guaranteed. It's really crazy. I'm glad that they nerfed his Ice Wall recently, his beta, or a while back, because he used to do 200 damage. He had this doing 200 damage with everything else on his kit. I was insane for not putting this guy in freaking S tier. My bad, guys. But even now, after the nerf, this guy's still S tier. If you combo his skills together like you're supposed to, any of these moves are guard breaking. If I was to make a change for this character, there are two changes I would consider making. One, increasing the decreasing the reload speed. That's a better phrase. Decreasing the reload speed of his Gamma, so his Gamma comes back slower, making him much more stationary. Or I would just simply take away the 50 HP he has here. But him having both of them with his insane damage output is crazy. Which then leads me into the next character, which is just his variant, Tech Todoroki. This guy for me is in like B tier, in all honesty, and I even considered C tier. Call me crazy. Mainly because I didn't mean to pick him. Mainly because like 300 HP, terrible special attack still, by the way. His alpha's okay. It's great for knockdowns. It's great for protecting you from very aggressive characters. But that's about it. It's this skill right here, his Frostfire Break, which, what the heck is that name? In my head, it was freaking, what's it called? Flash Freeze Heat Wave. I think that was like what the movie was originally called in the anime. But anyways, his Ice Wall, decent damage, great for moving around if you want to get on top of buildings and stuff like that. And then his Gamma is great for blocking projectiles and finishing off downed opponents. And it still does decent damage on opponents who are up as well. But realistically, hey, Todoroki, please. But realistically speaking, Endeavor! Anyway, sorry. Realistically speaking, this character, in my opinion, he needs more HP. I'm not gonna lie. Take away the 50 HP from Strike Todoroki and give it to Tech Todoroki right here. He needs a little bit more, I feel like, to be relevant. Because, let's be honest, if you're not just spamming your skills away, which he has cooldowns to deal with, by the way, so you can't always do that. He's susceptible to getting jumped on, getting dove on, I guess I would say is a better phrase. Like, for an example, let's say I use Rapid Bakugo. I would bait out the explosions, of course, but after that, this guy's just a sitting duck. And I feel like a lot of characters can get him like that, because he has no real movement options, which is fine. He doesn't need a movement option. What he really just needs, in my opinion, is more survivability. In terms of like damage, maybe increase the damage of his alpha a bit. I think that'd be nice. When I was testing, it did like 70, 75 damage. I wouldn't be opposed to them boosting damage up to like maybe 80, 85, personally speaking. His Gamma, funny enough, I think his Gamma's fine. I mean, it does its purpose. It does its purpose. Protects you and, keeps your enemies back. And it does additional damage if they dare to try to approach it. And then, of course, it hard knocks them down, which can lead into your beta alpha explosion here. But yeah, I would just maybe consider increasing the damage of his direct alpha, this right here specifically, and maybe increasing his beta damage by like 10. I think 10, 15 damage wouldn't be bad. Those are like the only real changes I would make, just small damage increases, and give him 50 HP. And then I can see myself ranking this character higher than B tier, an A tier pick for sure. But right now, with the way he feels, it's like, why would you play this guy when you can just play his strike version and just dominate? I feel like. So yeah, this guy's like B tier for me. And like I said, I even question C tier. Next up on the list, I believe, is Froppy. Yes, it is Froppy. I had to be sure. Sorry for that freaking pause. I started for an A tier. I don't know if you guys, of course you guys probably already know this. This character is a demon. Yes, you Froppy, you are a monster disguised as this freaking amazing hero. You're a monster. But no, I'm saying that because it's really the Froppy mains, man. They know how to capitalize on you when you're in like your worst situation, low on HP, maybe you're trying to heal up, and then they just sneak up on you with a couple alphas, an alpha or two betas, and then you're cooked. Because then she's chasing you the entire time. Oh, I'm getting nightmares. At this point, Froppy mains are the other boogeymen. They're the boogeymen of this game, it feels like. But no, let me go and stop glazing and get my actual point across. This character still has crazy mobility. 250 HP. I mean, she's a rapid, what we expect. Great revive. Always comes in clutch. And it has an insane, like, its recovery time is insane. Like, it feels like the recovery time for her revive is not long by any means. Because I could down an opponent, they'll revive them, and let's say it take me, like, I say, 30 seconds to down the opponent again, and she has it back. What is the recovery time on her freaking revive? Increasing that a little bit wouldn't be a bad idea. But her alpha, great for solid damage, but it's great for movement. Her beta, we all seen all Froppy mains use the double beta combo and get in the same burst damage. Usually their combo goes alpha, beta, beta, and then you're losing like your shield guaranteed, it feels like. And then her gamma, of course. Her gamma allows her to sneak around and, I guess confuse the opponent. She could use that to get away or to approach the opponent and just mess with them. It's like, this character still feels really strong. I would say she's like, oh, best character in the game. No, not even close. But a good Froppy main can terrorize people with this character, and it's absolutely insane. Next up on my list is Kirishima, Assault Kirishima, which I have him in B tier. The reason why I have him in B tier is just that, like, it's weird. With him, I wouldn't know what I would do to make him higher than B tier. Because it's like, he does what he's supposed to do. He is a tank. He has 400 HP. He doesn't have a whole lot of movement, which is why he has the 400 HP. And his hardening to decrease that damage. He has an alpha that allows him to run pretty far if you know how to use it. And you can get the additional ammo count at level 4. So you don't have to max it anymore to get that third charge. I don't know what changes I would make to this guy to make him higher than B tier, because it's like, what, you're gonna give him more HP, have our first 450 HP character? Insane. He doesn't need that. He still feels strong. I think it's just because of the fact that a lot of characters have a lot of crazy movement options, to where if you're not fighting to a situation that benefits him, it's hard to get a lot of value out of him. His beta, he allows him to go in the air. That's cool. You might be able to sneak somebody out the air with a gamma, but you're bound to hit the ground anyways with it. Your betas, you're really only option hit characters in the air. And again, you don't have really a whole lot of aerial movement. You only have, movement on the ground thanks to your alpha. So it's like, he feels like a situational character. Now, if you're in close combat against this guy, or you're in an enclosed area, oh, this guy's going to dominate 100%. Don't get the wrong idea. Because I'm putting him in B tier, he's not bad. But it's like, I don't think there would be any changes I would make for this guy to make him anything higher than B tier. Because his kit is situational. Are we at endgame? Are we inside of a building? Are we out in the open? Am I fighting, one of these characters that have crazy mobility, like Nagon down here? Or, what's another crazy mobility character? Rapid All Might. I can list several characters. But that's kind of the whole point I'm getting at, is that this character, I really don't know what change I would make to this guy to make him, to put him higher on this tier list. He's a situational assault character, it feels like, which isn't bad. There are going to be situations where you'll have, times where you'll be indoors with this character and you'll be able to dominate. You'll be able to just run house. But besides maybe catching wake-ups, it's going to be hard for you to hit characters who have better mobility than you. And that's just the way the game feels right now. So B tier is where I would put this guy. Next up is his strike variant. Goodness gracious, this guy's still in S tier. I'm surprised this guy even got away from getting nerfed since his release. Has he received any nerf? Like, actually, has this guy gotten any nerf since his release? Everything here still feels really strong. They gave him like 6 freaking gammas. I think it's 5, but 6 freaking gammas. I'm exaggerating a little bit. His beta, it doesn't go down based off taking damage. It goes down based off how long you hold it, and you can hold that thing forever. It feels like, unless you're just spamming the slam input. His alpha that has really good movement and can be used to go and help start a combo or extend a combo. And of course, he has the same hardening skill, which allows him to take less damage, which means that now he can take less damage while putting out more damage on you. But more importantly, it's this guy's combos, his combos and his mobility.
Sounds good.
He can combo every single one of his skills together. You can do beta, you can do beta into alpha. You can do alpha into gamma. You can do beta into gamma. Now, doing that requires you knowing how the character works. The way I do it is doing a beta, a quick alpha charge into a gamma while they're still flying away. But like that does like 250 damage plus guaranteed. Like it is crazy how much competence you have with this character. Shoot, I've seen people combo his rocks off each other and just throw rock, and then you look up, you take like 200-300 damage just from freaking this whatever shape this is, this freaking rock right here. It's absolutely ridiculous. Then I forgot to mention how to freaking do the freaking movement tech with him. Just do an alpha, aiming your camera upwards, and then just press beta in between, and this guy can soar across the map. Like, he can actually chase down rapid characters. This guy has a lot going for him. Still an S tier pick. It is crazy to me that he hasn't been, like, touched at all. Next up on the list, I believe, is Denki, because we already did Yajirozu and Tokoyami here. Denki, call me crazy. When I sat back and really thought on it for this character, I had to put him in B tier. I can't lie. And the reason why I had to sit up here and put him in B tier is because, like,
that's a great quirk.
He feels like another character. I tapped on again, and he stopped doing that. He feels like another situational character. If you aren't, when you play this character, like I said before with Todoroki, you want to land your gamma. You get that gamma off, you may go into beta or go into alpha and just shred your opponent. But with his lack of mobility and everything, it's very predictable. It's like, unless you're getting snuck by a Denki, you can dodge the gamma pretty easily, I feel like. So it's like he has one real play style. Then after that, you might see him shoot a couple alphas here and there, but that's really about it. He only has one real method of fighting in this game, and it's easy to telegraph. I promise you, unless you get snuck by a Denki, it's pretty easy to see that coming, because that's really his main thing. That's all he really does. So when you take that into consideration, and the fact that his gamma is also his only like movement option, this character's not hard to beat down. He's another character I would say that's very situational on whether or not you dominate a game with this character or not. So even though he has very high damage, some of the highest damage in the game still, I feel like he's not hard to fight against by any means. So I couldn't put him anywhere higher than B tier, sadly. That's crazy, because like I always said this character was A tier, but not anymore, it feels like. But that's just my opinion. On to his tech counterpart, which I don't think we knocked him out yet, which we didn't. No. We didn't. Okay, Tech Denki. A tier. I put this guy in A tier mainly because it's like, I would definitely say he's better than Strike, 100%. He still has the 350 HP, just like his Strike counterpart, but what's crazy about him is that you don't have to be in the heat of battle to make this guy work. Matter of fact, you want to be away from the battle if you can. But even if people do dive on you, try to attack you, you have the means to defend yourself. Of course, we know his alpha, absolutely annoying, specifically the lock-on version of it, absolutely annoying, because then every single shot is locking onto you and hitting you no matter where you go. Like, unless you somehow break out of Denki's range, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter how much moving you're doing in terms of dodging or using your moves to move around. If you're not out of his range, these alphas will almost guaranteed hit, and they hit really, really hard. Then we got his beta, which he can set around himself, or he can set around the area, or whatever, and he can just stun you with them. And if you try to approach him, he can use these same betas to also combo you with, beta into alpha, which is alphas do more damage down close up. It's like this character can defend himself in close combat. He can defend himself and hey, Denki, I'm glazing you right now. Chill out. That sounds crazy. Anyways, but no, his freaking beta alpha combo allows him to shred opponents who try to approach him, and then he can use gamma to get away. And then if he hits an opponent with a gamma, he can go even farther distances to get further away, which will allow him to get back into his alpha lock-on state. Then we've got, I forgot to mention his electrification. His electrification sets his freaking lock-on mode on like overdrive and allows him to lock onto his opponents much faster. It's crazy. I wouldn't say he's the best character in the game. I wouldn't say he's S tier. He's definitely an A tier pick. I can't deny that. I say like mid A is a good spot for him. Next up is Monoma. I have him at A tier. Arguably high A tier is where I put him. Cause like this guy, I get it. He doesn't do as much damage as he used to with them nerfing his special action and everything. But he's a character I would say that is like combo dependent. You have to be aware, you know what I mean? And because like for an example, let's just, you know, go through the skills. Alpha, not a whole lot of damage, but very annoying. Beta, this one was actually annoying. This one was like very annoying and it does decent damage, especially if you you know, if you combo into it with like, what is it, melee, beta, I think it is. Insanely annoying. His gamma allows him to be pretty much be invulnerable to the first attack that hits him, and to take your skill. His base kit is already annoying as is, being, you know, and his main damage source coming from his beta. If you were to use his base kit, but then let's talk about the fact that he can copy skills by using these skills on opponents, and that right there is why I put this character in like high A tier. I couldn't put him in S, but I could put him in high A tier because if you have the, you know. Again, you have to be aware of what skills you have, but if you have the right skills, or you have skills that you're comfortable with using, and you have them on this character, you can still dominate, I feel like. There was this one time where I literally saw a Monoma. They used, I think it was Strike Kendo's alphas to stun the opponent into an All Might Gamma and did like 350 damage. It was absolutely ludicrous. But the point that I'm getting at here is that although his base kit is decent, it's good, and you can make it work, what makes this character so good, in my opinion, is that he's a mystery box a lot of times. You won't know what skills he has on standby. And if the player on the other side knows how to use these skills and combo them together in tangent and everything, this character can still be a nightmare to fight against. We just don't really see that all that often because, to be personally honest, I don't think I've seen a lot of Monomas have that, I guess, that much awareness, I would say. They typically choose like one broken skill and then just spam that, you know what I mean? But if they actually combo the skills together that they steal from other opponents, oh, this character can still work even with the reduced damage. I mean, he only lost 20% damage off those skills. So if they get the right skills, they can still put in work, I promise you. So yeah, high A tier. I have him at, it's funny, him and Tug are high A tier. Go figure. Anyways, on to Kendo. I have a Assault Kendo here in B tier as well because she also just feels like another situational character. I would say she's similar to Assault Kirishima in a way. 400 HP, decent. This special action, I think they should buff this special action. I should be able to use this special action to revive a downed opponents, or be able to throw downed opponents.
Piss me off.
Not opponents, allies. I should be able to use this to move my downed allies. Is that crazy? I feel like that'd be fine. Anyways, Alpha still has insanely high damage, but it's like a shotgun. You want to be up close to really get the max damage on it. Beta, one of her best defensive tools. I personally love this thing, but people can go around it and still, you know, beat you in the back of your head. And then her Gamma armor on it still like does like 180 damage and everything. She's strong up close, but lacks movement. And if you keep your distance, it's like one of those things where it's like you could probably zone her out. So it's like it's situational on where this character can also dominate. If you're in close combat with this character, she will shred you. Do not underestimate a Kendo or an Assault Kirishima for that matter in close combat. They will still 100% destroy you. But if you can get your distance and fight them at their weakest point, which is range, you can shred these characters. I feel like, which is why I say that they are situational. Of course, Kendo here, thankfully, has her shield and everything, but once you break it, it's like, ooh, she ain't got too much more to work with, you know? So, same with Assault Kirishima, like I keep saying, close combat demon, but if you can just, you know, keep your distance, not that much of a problem. Or if you can get away from them, not much of a problem, which also isn't hard because they don't have a whole lot of movement options. Just don't misuse your iframes and you'll be fine. as for her strike counterpart, I have her strike counterpart here in A tier, I believe. Yes, I do. I have her in A tier because of the simple fact that, like, I know we don't see her as often because she got nerfed and everything, but she's still a comp. I keep selecting them and not pressing the skill button or menu. She still has 350 HP. She still has her special action, which I still think the same thing should count for her as well. Let me revive with my special action. But anyways, although they nerfed the damage of it was her alpha and her gamma a while back, right? Although they nerfed the damage, it's like if you still combo with this character, damage won't really be a huge factor for you. I'll be honest. She still has cancelable melees. She still has this beta that gets really, really strong based off how much damage she's taking from it, and she could just supercharge it. I think one time I was playing Rapid Deku, I took like 300, 350 damage from her beta. It was actually terrifying. This character still has damage. It's just that, like, you know, it's not as absurd as when she first released. Despite that, if you still combo into her alpha and her gamma, you can still dominate with this character. I feel like she's not as strong as she once was, and I'm thankful for that because she was doing like what 100 plus per alpha or something. I gotta look back and see at the exact numbers. It has been a while since I looked at Prime Strike Kendo, but this character in her prime was freaking insane. So I'm glad that they went ahead and nerfed her. The most I would do, her alpha, her charged alpha. Can you please allow us to dodge during that? I can't stand the fact I have to fire off the alpha before I can actually dodge, because then you can sit there and just take damage if you're not careful. So that's like the only change I would make on this character. Besides that, I think she's in a solid spot. She feels balanced, and any red Kendo mains know that you can still just destroy people with her combos. So that's my opinion. That's my thoughts. Let's go ahead and get on to our next character. Okay, so next up on our list, we already did a bar. We already did Rapid Mirio. Tech Mirio. This guy's S tier. And it's funny because I think in one of my last tier lists, maybe it was the last one, I put this guy in A tier. I was a fool. I put him there because I thought originally, like, okay, people got used to playing him. It shouldn't be, you know, that bad. He going like A tier. They didn't really make any changes to this guy's kit when I think about it.
Sounds good.
You can still do beta into alpha and do just, you know, high damage if you need to. His alpha still has really good movement. And there's like a very, very small window on his alpha to hit him. Otherwise, you literally can't hit this guy when he's firing his alphas. His counter still is his best move, in my opinion, and very easy to use. And in most cases, the reason why I put this guy in S tier and I changed my mind is that with Tech Mirio, he's a character where you're literally not going to take damage unless you make a mistake. The only real opening this guy actually has in his kit that you can guaranteed get is the beta. I know you got to think, oh, what about his gamma? I'll get to that in a second. His beta is the one move where you will guarantee have an opening to hit him, and that's really about it. And even then, that window's kind of small too, because he'll be able to move and use other skills to go ahead and get out of that animation. The reason why I didn't count his gamma into that is because a lot of times, yes, you can get hit after the gamma goes down. Very true. You're only really getting hit after using the gamma if you just spam it, if you misuse it, because everyone's expecting this counter to show up, because we know this is his best move. Everybody is expecting this counter to show up for you to use it and to spam it out, you know, to spam it because you're jumpy, you know. I won't say you're afraid, but you're jumpy. So you're just pushing. You're trigger happy with the gamma. If you are not trigger happy with this gamma and you use it in a smart manner, you know, looking out for big, wide-ranging attacks or very slow like attacks to hit. If you're looking out for that and then you use your gamma, you'll be fine. You'll be a-okay. Just don't be trigger happy with the gamma. That's most of the time. That's most of the reason why people even take damage as Mirio, because they be so trigger happy with his counter. If you can control that, if you can stop that, this character is so hard to freaking consistently hit. A lot of times I find my team having to jump this guy when he's the last one on the field, unless, you know, like I said, you're fighting a trigger-happy Tech Mirio. And then not to mention, he still has a special action that allows him to, again, permeate and go to his teammates, which still makes his character very hard to kill. So with that being said, I had to put Mirio in S tier, and you could honestly make an argument for him being the best character in the game, which is why on this tier list here, you're going to see I have him right next to Shigaraki, because I would say that them two are probably like, so, if not, I won't say they're the best. Of course, my opinion is my opinion. It's not fact or anything. But like, whenever I see a Tech Mirio and a Tech Shigaraki fight, it normally ends in like a stalemate unless the Mirio is trigger happy and the Shigaraki capitalizes on that. But let's say Mirio, chill out. But let's say the Shigaraki is trigger happy with his alphas and he doesn't bait out the counter. He'll just counter through his attacks. You know what I mean? Y'all see y'all see what I'm getting at here? So it's like, ooh, he might still be. I still think he is one of the best characters in the game. I'm not gonna deny that. But on this list here, I have him as the best because yeah, you're only taking damage on this character if you're being careless. That's what I found out. Next up is Tamaki. Tamaki. Let's go and talk about you, bud. So when it comes to Tamaki, I have him in A tier, and funny enough, I think I have him on the lower end of A tier, to be honest with you guys, because looking at his kit, it's like he doesn't have a lot of mobility options, which is probably why he has 350 HP. You use special attack to get high in the air, and you have 2 betas at best, but after that, you're kind of a sitting duck. When it comes to actually fighting this guy, you typically find your typical Tamaki player to go for his the octopus whip right here. This version of his alpha where he pulls you in and everything. But they also nerfed the damage of his alpha all around, so it's like it's not doing as much damage. So his typical go-to combos are doing less damage now. And after you use these abilities, you don't really have much more to work with. You know what I mean? It's like you might see a Tamaki go for like a beta to get that additional speed increase or whatever, but it's like I'm trying to find out what to describe. How do I best describe this? Fighting or playing as Tamaki head up feels underwhelming now. Does that make sense? Because it's like you have to go ahead and of course use all out of your resources. You have to use like alpha melee special action into a beta or something. I don't know if that combo still even works. You have to do a whole lot to get that guard break. You know what I mean? A lot of his damage really comes from his plasma cannon, which you don't see a Tamaki just use out in the open because if you're out in the open, you're gonna get blitzed down. You're gonna get destroyed. They don't care that you could do like 220 to 240 damage with your gamma. They don't care about that because they could just go behind you or just dodge it because I don't think it's necessarily too hard to dodge. Now, if you're getting third-partied by it, different story. But it's not really too hard to dodge if you know it's coming. And then, like I said, you're left out in the open while firing off that cannon, and you're just taking nothing but straight up damage over and over and over again. And of course, you can cancel the dodge, but still, you're gonna be eating that damage while you're doing the move. And then, not to mention, it takes a very long time to charge this move up. So unless you have Nejire on the field with you, whether it's support or whether it is tech, if you don't have either of them on the field with you on your team, this move takes a long time to charge as well. So with that in mind, it's like I had this guy. He's still decent, but it's like he's a little questionable. I feel like so I put him in like low A tier roughly. Next up on the list would be Tech Nejire. We already did support, so we don't have to worry about her. I have her in A tier. Yeah, I have her in A tier. Had to go ahead and be sure. So yeah, so I have her in A tier mainly because of the fact that like I could see people being iffy about this character, mainly because of her beta. I think her beta, funny enough, is her weakest move, just due to how long it takes for the waves to reach her opponent. It could do big damage if you can get all the hits, but that's the thing, getting all the hits. Her alpha, if you can get all the hits, funny enough, I said the same thing for that one. You get if you can consistently land her alpha does like 90 to 100 damage. It hits really hard. So if you got decent aim, hurts. This one, you probably want to just use this one over a wide range of opponents, maybe something like that. I don't know just yet, because like again, it's like you use that, you are kind of left in a stationary position. At most, you'll be gliding in whatever direction you're going in, thanks to her being able to hover and stuff like that. But that's really about it. Her gamma though feels really good in my opinion. It's easy to catch wake ups with. It's an easy move to fall back on. It allows you to go in the air and get higher, in the air and make it hard for opponents to shoot you. I think her gamma and alpha are really, really good. Alpha, you just gotta be a little consistent with it, be able to land your shots. Her beta is probably her weakest move, which is why I was like, I was hesitant on whether or not I wanted to put her in A tier or not. But when you consider the damage that this character is doing and how she's controlling the battlefield with her energy waves and everything, I could put her in A tier. I feel like I had to. Hopping up to our next character, Shinzo Bud. I also have Shinzo in A tier, but more on the lower end of A tier. And that's mainly because this guy, he's not in his prime anymore. We understand that. We know that. They nerfed him. They increased his down power and everything. Well, I think it's on his beta. They made it's a guaranteed hard knockdown now, so you can't combo off of it. His combos, I feel like, are easy to telegraph, easy to see, but this character still has some really good damage. Not to mention you have the brainwashing here with his gamma and also his special action to go ahead and, you know, control your opponents, lock them down, etc., make it hard for him to dodge. So I still feel like he is decently strong, but the reason why I feel like we don't see him anymore is just because he's not what he once was. Once you land that beta, that's a guaranteed end to the combo. So it's like then you got to go ahead and play around that. Whether you want to go for like a gamma to stun them, or maybe you want to catch their wake up with an alpha. You know, you have to play around that guaranteed hard knockdown now. Not to mention that although he does have a movement option in his beta, you are losing your beta charges to hit somebody with when you do that. But also, it's not super hard to shoot Shinzo out of the air when he uses his beta, because when he first starts the beta, he's very stationary. And even when he's in the air, he's you at least in my experience, it's not hard to hit this guy while he's moving around with his beta. So he has, I feel like, a lot of weaknesses, especially with him being stationary with a lot of his skills. He has a lot of weaknesses that can be exposed, which is why I feel like low A tier is where I would put him, because he's still decently strong. He's still decently strong, but he has weaknesses that makes it easier to play around him, which is why I can't see myself putting him higher than like low A tier, in my opinion. We're going down to Aizawa here. Hello, bud. Yeah, let's go talk about you for a minute. This guy's still S tier. need I even say more on that one? This guy's still S tier because, and he's one of the stronger characters in the game. Like, let's see, where do I have him on my tier list? I have him like, it looks like he's like mid low S. I feel like maybe I should have put him a little bit higher, because like, his special action, of course, making it where you cannot use your quirk skills. Not to mention, I feel like if you guys need like a hard counter for Tech Shiggy, use this guy. Just use your special action, cancel his regen. But anyways, not the point. Special action, stopping all quirk skills, very strong. The only thing I would change about this, and this is probably doing too much, is why they haven't done it yet. Cancel special actions, but then that'd be doing too much, because then you have no way to defend yourself against him and his team. So understandable. Alpha. Still very strong. Whether you want to use the ground version to pull your opponent in to lead into a combo, or you use the air version to do a flying kick. That flying kick, it gives me nightmares. That thing does like 180 to 200 damage guaranteed every time. Like, I never know the exact number, because somebody could have like, you know, a standard build and be like, okay, maybe like 180, 190, or someone could have a damage build with Fixer and they're doing like 250 on the alpha. It's actually terrifying. His beta is probably his weakest move. It's great for movement, but people don't really use it so much for, you know, offensive power. I don't even know how much damage this thing does. I think it does like maybe 150. I don't know. I gotta look to see. But then it's this gamma. This freaking gamma is freaking strong. Able to block incoming projectiles and everything, so you can't even shoot him while he's doing the gamma. Most of the time you've seen Aizawa go for ground to alpha, melee into gamma, and they have some type of melee tuning. You're probably cooked most times. Then he has crazy movement, because if I'm correct, his moves reload while he's in the air, particularly his alpha, I think. So it's like there's not really a limit to how much distance he can cover. Like, you're only gonna really catch an Aizawa if they like misuse their abilities, I feel like. And then you wrap all this around the fact that he has erasure, so it makes it where it's that much harder to fight against him. And his only real weakness, I guess, would be he's stationary during his ground alpha, so you can capitalize off of that. But this character, he still feels really, really strong. So I feel like I had to put him in S tier. And with that in mind, his best friend is also going in S tier. Yes, you, President Mike. This guy is also, he has to be one of the most underrated picks in this game. Because, like, you don't see him, like, at all. At least I rarely see him. But whenever he's on the field, I think to myself, I need to down him immediately if I see him. Because this guy just hits so hard. Have you guys ever been on the receiving end of a beta into a freaking gamma? That thing's a guaranteed guard break in most cases. And then even if he doesn't do that, have you been on the receiving end of a beta into an alpha while he has his radio noise boombox out? You're losing your HP so fast. And then I've seen some of you guys throw Fixer on this guy with Revenge Strike. What more damage do y'all need? Oh my gosh. The only weakness of this guy is that he lacks mobility. I mean, he has some mobility thanks to his gamma, but that's really about it. It's like he lacks mobility, and that's the only thing that kind of balances him out. But it's hard to say that's balancing him out because his beta has such a wide hitbox, so it's very hard to get around it. And from my experience, you cannot armor through it.
Myself.
And I thought to myself, okay, I'll just armor through his beta. You cannot armor through his beta.
That's so stupid.
Which makes it well, you can't even try trading with him. You try trading with him, you're gonna lose every time. Unless you're using like a projectile or something. But even still, it's like you just gotta be out of range or try to dodge it or something. It's crazy, really. So I had to sit up here and put him in S tier as well because he's still decently strong. I feel like. Moving on to Cementos, which I put him in A tier, which I think is an upgrade from my last tier list. I think he was in B tier in my last tier list. The reason why I put him in A tier now is that it's like they changed both his special action to where you're no longer you're no longer trapping your allies in a box, which could make or break the situation. Like if there's a Shigaraki on the field, I'm sorry, Cementos, you just sold your teammate. it was that bad. Like if you had characters who could shoot through walls and stuff like that, you entrapping your teammates, and depending on who they're playing, whether they have movement or not, you're really kind of more so hurting them versus helping them. So I'm glad they changed the shape of his defensive wall right here to help out his teammates. As for his beta, they made it where now you use his beta more so like a shield if you want to, which is great. I think that was a great change. And then in typical Cementos fashion, this guy can freaking stack like he's in Fortnite. Like, and not to mention, he also has insane damage. Like, the reason why I'm not putting him in like S tier is really because he, besides him stacking up on his alphas, like he's playing Fortnite, he doesn't have a whole lot of movement options. He doesn't have any movement options for that matter when I'm looking at this. But he can still dominate with the fact that his cement walls can go through walls. They do big damage. He has very powerful combos with for an example, using Gamma into Alpha. He still has very powerful combos and everything. This character, he feels strong, and it's like I can't help put him in A tier. He feels decent. I haven't seen him as much in the meta, but I've seen a couple Cementos players here and there. Now, let's get on to Assault Endeavor, because we already did Strike Endeavor. This may come off as a little bit generous. I put him in B tier. When it comes to Endeavor, Assault Endeavor specifically, do I think that they nerfed this character too hard in the past? Yes, absolutely. Will not deny that. In my experience, his damage feels very inconsistent, which is why I was unsure of where I would rank this guy at first. He still has the 350 HP and everything. He still has the fly. He still has the high jump. None of that is affected. It's just that these two moves, it's like more so his beta than his alpha, but his damage just feels so inconsistent now. And of course, they make it where you want to more so use his gamma to get your big damage now, which I would say wouldn't be a problem if it didn't take if the move wasn't slow. The flame orb feels kind of slow. Am I tripping on that? At least that's how I feel. It feels slow. It doesn't go through walls or anything. I feel like just some minor changes would put this guy back up in like A tier or even S tier. But at least for right now, he feels like a B tier pick. And the reason why I say B tier, he can still, funny enough, he can still cook depending on the situation. The situation what it really falls down to. And it's weird to say because it's like, can you consistently land your betas? Are you getting your alphas in? Are you landing your gamma? Are you third partying? Stuff like that. You know what I mean? Are you out in the open? Are you indoors? Stuff like that is why I say this character is also another situational powerhouse. He can still make things work, but it's situational, which was like I had to put him in B tier. I couldn't find myself putting him in C tier or D tier because C and D tier are like, for characters who are just like bad or like desperately need help. I don't think he desperately needs it. A small buff to like his beta or something would be nice though, I can't lie. Our next character is Strike Hawks, I believe, because we already did My Lady, we already did Rapid Hawks. Strike Hawks, I have this guy in A tier.
Sounds good.
And I have him on the higher end of H, I believe, kind of mid to high. Because it's still a fact that like this character, way better than his rapid counterpart. He has what his rapid counterpart needs. He has combos. And he does decent damage on his moves to where those combos actually hurt. The way I saw Strike Hawks when he first came out was that he was like, I don't want to sound disrespectful to Hawks when I say this, but he was like a Walmart version of Strike Curie. And if you listen to my Strike Curie rant about him, what makes him so dangerous is the fact that he can combo all his skills together. And that's the same thing for this guy. He can combo all his skills together. Alpha into beta, beta into alpha, or beta into gamma, gamma into beta. Like he can combo it all together. together. Not to mention, he gets additional buffs if you get the skills to level 7 and above. Like, this guy actually feels decently strong. He feels pretty strong. The only weakness I would say for this character is, funny enough, the same weakness that I have for Hawks. Special action, movement. But at least for this guy, he can use his beta to get around a bit more. And I know T.U.N.I.N.G can do the same thing with Rapid Hawks, but it's like you have to hit an opponent to get that extended movement. Otherwise, you're just wasting beta charges and you got an extra long cooldown to deal with. Movement is also an issue with this guy, specifically his special action. I would just change the way that it's consumed, and boom, that's about it. This guy doesn't really need any more help, in my opinion. This guy's fine. His Strike Hawks is fine. It's Rapid I have a problem with. This guy needs help. With that being said, we're finally done with the freaking heroes. This is gonna be a long video. Hope you. I'm sorry, you guys, but Strike Shigaraki, I believe, is next. We already knocked out everybody else on the heroes. Strike Shigaraki, my boy. I'm sorry to do this to you. You a B tier character, man. I'm sorry. So here's why I say he's B tier. He's another situational character. With the way that the game is right now, with all the characters having lots of movement, a lot of vertical movement for that matter. This is harder for this guy to do well. And then a while back they took away his 50 HP, so it's harder for him to survive. This guy, I will say this, he can counter most grounded characters, if not all of them, just due to the fact of how his decay works and everything, which is great. But the moment you bring in a character who can go in the air or keep himself in the air for a long time, this character loses his value, I feel like, which sucks. Because I love playing Strike Shigaraki. He's such a satisfying character to play. But he's not exactly in the best spot. Personally speaking, I would love to see this guy get his 50 HP back. I know they won't do that due to the simple fact that Tech Shiggy is now here and he has the 350 HP. So unless we want to see that character get 400 HP, which please don't, he probably has to stay at 300. What I would do personally, and I let go of this idea a while ago because I thought it was unnecessary when he had the 50 HP. But now with him not having the 50 HP anymore and making it where you can't really combo into his special action anymore with his Gamma, why not allow one of these two skills here between his Alpha or Beta to hit characters in the air? Because you know how you guys see the decay particles float up in the air from his moves? Or you can see it here actually. You know how the decay floats up in the air when he's attacking with these skills? Why can't those particles do half the damage of the moves that are on the ground? You know what I mean? Something like that I think would be really cool for this character to make it where he could still be at least a little bit relevant. Make it only go up to a certain height, similar to Strike Davi's alphas. That's what I would do, personally speaking. Besides that, I don't know what else you can really change with this character to make him valuable again. In the meta, make it where his Gamma can hit characters in the air, maybe like Assault Shigaraki. I don't really know what else you could really do with this character to make him anything higher than B tier. Besides maybe those couple changes, and then at best you could put him in A tier at best. I don't know. It's just right now with the way that he is in the current state of the game, he can still dominate, but it's situational. He's not gonna be able to sit up here and win like every encounter. You have to play to his strengths in like inside buildings or enclosed areas. With that being said, Assault Shigaraki. I know you guys are gonna be happy about this one. I got this guy in A tier. At least I believe I got him in A tier. I need to freaking look at my list real quick. Yeah, I have him in A tier. Cool. So I have him in A tier because, funny enough, this actually got some pretty decent changes.
But I can't win if I don't play.
Shigaraki, we're not doing this. Let me finish my yap sesh. Okay. When it comes to Assault Shigaraki here, funny enough, he has the one thing that Strike doesn't. He can hit characters in the air. And I know you guys are probably thinking, oh, but he can't do a lot of damage. The Beta and Gamma says otherwise. Not to mention, they increased the range of his Alpha, and they made it where he has better mobility with his Gamma. In my opinion, he is in a much better spot than his Strike counterpart. And then if you can actually learn the combos with this guy, the combo damage is ridiculous. It really centers around his Beta. From the last time I played him, you gotta land your Beta. You land the Betas though, oh, the damage gets ridiculous. And then he still has his special action to increase his damage even more. But yeah, thanks to his additional movement, his increase in range, and the fact that he can hit characters in the air with his respective abilities, I'll have to put this guy in A tier and higher than his Strike counterpart, which is crazy because I've always been, a Strike Shigaraki enthusiast. But With that being said and done, let's move on to our next character, which is All For One, I believe. This guy's S tier. And for All For One, it was so difficult to find out where I want to put him. I think I put him like low S, and that's really because it's hard to rank this guy. Because like, let's go to this kid, of course. He has no mobility on his kit. Okay, sure, whatever. The thing is, you can fix that with his special action. You can fix that with Plunder and steal a high mobility quirk if you really need it.
Sounds good.
And even if you don't need it, this guy has so much area control with all his skills. His alpha, the fact you can do the quick burst, or you can hold it down and increase his power and get that 170, 180 damage. The fact that his beta can stop you right in your tracks. Doesn't matter what you're doing. The best you can do is, if you have super armor, I think, or hyper armor, you can armor through his skills. This skill, of course. But if you don't have that, he's stopping you right in your place. He's using this skill to catch your wake ups. And then his gamma, he could use that to push or pull you away. I've seen All For Ones do combos where they would do the pull in gamma, they would do the charged alpha, and then still hit the beta afterwards. You guys think y'all the actual demon lord or something? What are these combos? Like, it's actually kind of crazy. And then we still haven't talked about the fact of, well, we talked about it a little bit, his plunder, his special action. If he gets his hands on any of these other quirks, of course, it depends on the player, of course. But if you get your hands on any of these other characters' skill sets and you can make them work with All For One's skill set, you can run lobbies. I've seen All For Ones run lobbies. This guy is very strong. And of course, it has to fall back to the change that he got a while back, where he keeps where you know, the levels he gets for his stolen quirk skills are the same as his original quirk skill. Great change, by the way. I don't ever change that. I'm thankful for that. But it's like, this character is very, very strong. So I had to put him in S tier. And while we're still on the matter, hey, young version of All For One. Funny enough, I put him in S tier. And the reason why I say funny enough is because this character I originally put in A tier in my last tier list. So I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about him. But when I actually went back to look at his kit and see everything that he does, he is actually an S tier character when I look back at it. Really strong alphas. If you know how to use them, they do impact on ground or at max distance. Just use it correctly. Special action, sealing other people's special action has to be one of the best abilities in the game, in my opinion. Because used on the right character, you're stopping revives. You're stopping movement options. You're stopping a certain ability that still does 300 damage right now. You're doing so much, taking away an opponent's special action, depending on the character. He can fly around thanks to, with his special action as well. He still has his beta and gamma that has large AoEs on areas. The only small change I considered maybe making for this character is allowing like the meteor or the divine judgment skills specifically, allowing one of them to go through walls. And I know the beta kind of go through buildings, but if you're not on the same level as the beta, you'll be fine. You'll take like 10, 25 damage and go on about your day. Really about it. I think letting one of these skills go through walls would be nice, a nice change for this character. That's probably the only thing I would change. Or I take that back. Yeah, I have thought about maybe, what if they gave All For One 350 HP? This All For One specifically. What if they gave him 350 HP? I personally wouldn't be against that, seeing him get 350. But I may sound crazy for that one. Let me know in the comments. But also, I forgot to mention with his gamma, you can just keep people locked down with the crumbling orb part of the gamma. And not to mention, he also gets very high damage reduction and hyper armor in his gamma. This guy is technically speaking a lot better than I gave him credit for. I can admit that he's a lot better than I gave him credit for. Honestly, an S tier pick. And it's crazy that I'm just now seeing it. Now, let's get on to everyone's favorite technical. Tech Dobby, oh my gosh. Funny enough, this guy's actually an A tier. I feel like this guy has a lot of freaking value, if I have to be honest with you guys. They increased the tracking of his alpha, which is amazing. It's great. Sure, it's doing less damage, but it's guaranteed. It's almost guaranteed hitting your opponent, especially if they're flying. It's almost guaranteed hitting them, unless they get out of range or something. Beta, still great to set traps everywhere, and you could use these traps as shields as well to block incoming attacks or projectiles. It's really nice. And then, of course, his gamma, his main shield that he uses to go ahead and block all things coming his way. You can also use this to go and stick up on your opponents and stuff like that. If you play to Dobby's strengths, this guy has a lot of value. And not to mention, there are so many characters in this game who are just so hyper aggressive. You know, like your tech Shiggies, your assault Shiggies, freaking your blue Dekus, your Frappies, your Kirishimas, your All Might, and I can keep going. There's so many characters in this game who are so hyper aggressive that want to be close in and do damage to you. And this guy just has two very good skills right here between the Gamma and Beta to make them reconsider getting close to you. And of course, they're still going to try because you're tech Dobby and they think you're easy. But after 1-2 traps, maybe a Gamma,
Like
I guarantee you they're going to be reconsidering their choices. And if they don't, you'll probably down them. And then, and even if they get away, use your alphas and chase them down. Very easy. The only real, I guess, weakness for this character, of course, lack of mobility. He lacks mobility. And I would say his special action, funny enough, his special action, you can't consistently get it, which is good, because, like, let's be honest, getting a guaranteed revive is insane. But more so what catches my attention with the Gamma is it has, like, two different inputs, or two different ways that it works. You have one version of it where it does instantaneous damage, and that's it. You have another version of the skill where if your opponent walks into the fire, it does damage over time. Very fast, but it does damage over time. And it's just like, can we like choose which one is gonna do? If it's me personally, I would choose the damage over time. I feel like that's more valuable. But yeah, I feel like the way his special action works is kind of wonky. But that's just my thoughts. I'm not mad at the fact that, you know, you can keep hitting this guy and stop him from reviving, because I'll be real with you, you could use T.U.N.I.N.G to get around that. I use T.U.N.I.N.G to get around it. I mean, look at my build here. I use T.U.N.I.N.G to go ahead and get around the whole entire getting my special action off. Muscle form or any type of hyper armor skill, if you use that and you get downed, you can get the revive off for free. It's pretty nice, I gotta admit. So that's Tech Dobby. I have him in A tier. Strike Dobby. I'll be honest with you guys, I had to put him in C tier. I had to put this guy in C tier. This guy is in a rough spot, I feel like. Because, like, don't get me wrong, he still has decent damage. He has good damage. Damage is not his problem. It's survivability.
Sounds good.
This guy, and I know you other Strike Dobby mains also feel this too, whenever you go for a beta, you just get deleted. You take more damage than the damage you're dealing to your opponent. Unless they also take the hits, which that kind of depends. But you are guaranteed taking almost more damage most times than your opponent. Because people see you going for a beta and you just get destroyed. So now you have to play much more far back and use your alphas, which are decent. They're nice. They still do like a solid 90 damage or something. But it's like, it's not your best move. It's not your highest damaging move. Then you have Crazy Torch down here, which I still think the AoE explosion on it is still very good. It has very good damage. But you being stationary because of that skill, if you don't use it in the air, I would say, it can really hurt you, I feel like. Because, like, you know, if you use it in the air, you can block projectiles. I don't know if it works from above if you're on the ground. I gotta look and see. But him being stationary to explode, it can hurt him. They can catch you before the explosion. So it's like Dobby right now, Strike Dobby, I feel like he's in a tough spot. He needs something more to better survive on the battlefield. I've always recommended giving damage reduction to his beta when he uses it, so he just doesn't get destroyed as fast, because he does get destroyed very fast in his beta. So damage reduction on his beta would be nice. If you want to make it easier for him to fire off that final explosion faster, you could. But I'm not necessarily concerned about this. I'm concerned about this character's survivability. Make it where he just doesn't get destroyed as quickly. Similar to how All Might got his damage reduction on his alpha, do the same thing with this guy's beta. That's what I would do, honestly. Is there anything else I would change with this guy? I would maybe reduce the amount of HP you lose when using your Gamma. I think that's maybe the only thing I would change. Make it where it's not as punishing. Because I think you lose like 30 HP off first activating it, and then it ticks down from there. I would maybe change that a little bit, but that's really about it. But with that all in mind, it's like, Dobby, it's rare, I feel like, for you to see Strike Dobby actually dominate a game. But like, he can still perform, but it's less often than the characters I put in B tier. There we go. That's the way for me to put it. It's less often you see a Strike Dobby dominate a game compared to the characters in B tier, which was like, I had to put him in C tier. So I hope he sees something. I hope he sees some buffs in the next season. So with Strike Dobby out the way, let's go ahead and get on to our next character, which I believe is Rapid Toga, which where they did Tech Toga. Rapid Toga, I still have her in S tier. She's on the lower end of S tier, but I still have her in S tier. This character, similar to her tech counterpart, of course, what makes her so good, in my opinion, is the fact that she can just simply refresh her abilities by also swapping into, you know, her opponents. But also, her burst damage is insane. If you do a beta into an alpha into a gamma, guaranteed guard break. I think even with this tuning build, if I just do a beta into a gamma, that's a guaranteed guard break in most cases. Unless you got like additional like GP thanks to tuning. This character still has really good damage. Now, if you want to say like a weakness for her is like mobility, maybe it's hard to hit her during her beta, at least in my experience. It's easier to hit her in her gamma if she's using that to run away, but she covers a lot of distance with her gamma. So I don't really know if movement would really be a weakness for this character. But even if so, she could just steal someone's abilities that do have good movement and then just use that to get away even further. Like it's the fact that she has the same tech as Technical Toga, where she can refresh her cooldowns and use that to be either more aggressive or to get away from a fight, which is why I couldn't help but put this character still in S tier. She's on the lower end of S tier, but I couldn't help but still put this character in S tier. She still feels really strong, honestly. I mean, if you're fighting a Toga who can actually just hit her moves, worst nightmare. I hate fighting a Toga who can actually consistently land her beta gamma combo. It is terrifying. So, with that being said, let's hop on over to Twice, her best friend. Twice. I put her in C. I know, you know, in my Hogs video I said, oh yeah, Twice is even better. He is, but it's not by a whole lot. I put him in C because this guy, despite people saying this guy is like the worst character in the game, I do think that's a little much. He can still work. His alphas still do a lot of damage. His beta, you can use that to go ahead and distract people, or you could also have it do some damage as well, since it has, you know, auto aim. It has, you know, pretty much aimbot in a sense. And then of course his gamma, it still stuns people. It does it from a you have to be closer for it to work now. It still stuns people, and you can still, you know, combo into like, you know, your melee or your beta to get some really good damage off. The problem with Twice, in my opinion, is that they have him as a rapid, and he doesn't feel very movement-oriented, I would say. His only movement move is his gamma, and that kind of hurts him. I think they should maybe... I think that they should maybe buff his gamma in a way where he has more movement during his gamma to help out with that. But besides that, I mean, what else would you want to do with the character? We don't want Twice to go back to what he was before, where he was just able to just one tap an opponent. We don't want that. Let's be honest. But I think helping out his movement would be nice, and maybe the cooldown on his clone would also be nice. Twice is in a position right now, in my opinion, where he's a very gimmicky character. You need to go ahead and pretty much, you know, make clones to make this guy very valuable. But even then, I think that's what they could do. Upgrade or buff the AI of the clones. I think that would be nice too. Making these changes here and there would take this character out of C tier and put him back up like A tier. Maybe even S, depending on how far they go with the upgrades. It's just that like right now though, it's just the AI for his clones, not all that. His gamma, not a whole lot, not the best movement, and it's pretty easy to shoot him out of his gamma. Just a couple small changes, and this guy would be out of C tier. Similar to Strike Dobby. Just give him a couple small changes, and this guy will be, you know, back in the leaderboard, in my opinion. Because I was thinking about it, the AI for the clones I've seen recently, I'm not gonna lie to you, they're kind of oblivious. They kind of don't know what they're doing. It's kind of bad. So that's why I had to go ahead and put this guy in C tier, personally speaking. It's just like, give him a couple changes, and we can see him back in the meta again. So let me just summarize it. The changes I would make: change the AI on the clones, make them smarter, make them better. Beta cooldown wouldn't be a bad idea to reduce that by a little bit, especially if they're doing the clone thing I was talking about. And make his gamma just easier to move with. Make it where it's harder for people to shoot me out of my gamma if I was playing the character. That's probably like the 3 changes I would look for. I don't think he needs an HP increase or anything like that. I think besides that, it should be fine.
This is the time of my life.
Okay, Twice. I hear you, man. On to Compress. Compress here. Where did I put this guy? I put him in B tier. That's right. I put him in B tier because he's a character I actually don't really see. And I get why, because his alpha lost its damage and everything. And with the rest of his kit being more so defensive than offensive, it's like, it did hurt the character. I cannot deny. But I also cannot deny that if you properly use his beta, this beta hurts. Have you guys been hit by a compressed beta reflection? And what I mean by that is, let's say you're playing like a Deku, for an example. Let's say Strike Deku, for an example. He's the perfect character I can think of. I've actually experienced this recently with him. I used Strike Deku and I shot a compress while his beta was up, and it reflected it back at me. Tell me why it did 2 times the damage.
Huh?
You heard that right? It did 2 times the damage. My alpha's normally here for like 115-ish, roughly. He reflected my move with his beta, and it did like 250 damage. Guaranteed guard break. That thing hurts. So if you could properly, you know, reflect skills with his beta, you can get in missing damage with that. His alpha still stun locks him from what I've seen, from what I've experienced. It still stun locks you. Like, if you have shield, you're losing that shield if you get hit by this. As long as they're constantly firing, of course. But it losing its damage is probably why I would imagine people aren't really playing this character as much. His Gamma, still great for movement, has some damage around it if people are nearby, but it's also easy to predict when he'll do a Gamma. It just depends on whether your timing is off or not for when you'll land it. So I think this character can still work. That's why I put him in B tier. But he also feels like another situational character. It kind of just depends. I don't really see this guy often, and I don't really see him dominating games like that anymore either. It's just he's a situational character just like everybody else in B tier, in my opinion. So that is compressed out the way. I believe our last person is support overhaul here. We've done everyone else. All right, support overhaul. Now I put him in A tier, on the lower end of A tier, but I put him in A tier, and the reason why, and did I put him above? Did I put him above his assault counterpart? I did, and I think that's fair. Assault counter, the assault version of overhaul is missing damage, and that's why I have this guy kind of over him, because he has the damage that we probably was wishing assault overhaul had. It is very true that this guy lacks movement, but what makes it work for this guy, in my opinion, is the fact that, one, he has 50 more HP than his assault counterpart here, and he also has the same special action. So it allows you to survive longer with this character. Of course, Black and Move can still get you killed and everything, don't get me wrong, but like, he just, I feel like he has more burst damage than Assault Overhaul, which was like, I had to at least consider putting him at least relative, if not above, Assault Overhaul. Alpha still do decent damage. You can use this to cover to going down opponents, his beta, or you can use it on upped opponents, opponents who are up, and still do some decent damage to them. And then his Gamma is like his go-to move that you can just use and spam and get like a guaranteed guard break with. This guy, he still has very good damage. His only real weakness is just his lack of mobility, and that's about it. And realistically speaking, you can make up for that thanks to his special action and his additional HP compared to his assault counterpart. So with that in mind, it's like I had to put him in A tier and slightly above the assault version. Again, I don't think assault is bad, but it's just like, I wouldn't mind seeing a small damage increase to one of his skills. Not all of them, because if you guys saw the stats for Prime Assault Overhaul, I know I'm saying Prime, but like, I mean before he released. If y'all saw pre-released Overhaul, this guy could Touch of Death had a Touch of Death combo. TOD. It was ridiculous. So we don't need him to be like that at all. But I wouldn't be opposed to seeing him getting a small, minute damage buff to one or two of his skills. And that is my tier list. So I will show it one more time for you guys to see right here. This turned out a lot longer than I expected. So in terms of who I think will be like just the best characters in each row, this is pretty much what I got here. I think the best characters in the game, let's see, I put Tech Mirio there because I was like, okay, theoretically, you're not going to take damage, you know, playing this character. But if we're not considering that, you know, the best case scenario for Mirio, it might have to go to Shigaraki, in my opinion. He might genuinely be the best character right now in the game, especially with that stupid tuning build right now. Because, like, when you fight a Tech Shigaraki, you have to jump him, I feel like. It's funny, because I made a video on Tech Shigaraki a while ago, and people were like, oh, you're complaining about getting jumped on, but you're Tech Shiggy. I know.
Sounds good.
It's annoying in the moment, but trust me, I get it. I understand. If you're not jumping the guy, he's probably not dying. Even if you're jumping him, if you don't have the right characters jumping him, characters who can beam him down, he's just regenerating all the damage you're doing to him. So hopefully they make a change to his gamma to where, you know, it doesn't regenerate shield until you have max HP. That'd be great. I would love to see that, and the character will actually be much more balanced. I think besides that, the character's fine. But as of right now, he does feel like dang near the best character in the game, in my honest opinion. With that being said, I'm finally wrapping this up here. I gotta try to get this out because this is taking longer than I expected. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Tell me your thoughts down below in the comments. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe button, and those notification bells to stay updated with everything on the channel. I'm gonna shut up and go ahead and get this on out for you guys because it has been a while since I last posted. My bad. I'll be sure to update you guys later on why that's the case. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. See you later.